Good morning, everybody. It's Miss Jackson. I had so much fun reading that other book to you that I want to read another one. We all know that Horton hears a who. They've made a movie out of that. It's a great thing. But before Horton heard the who, Horton hatched an egg. So Horton Hatches an Egg is the book I want to read today, because not very often do we have people who read this particular book, but it was written before Horton Hears a Who, so I'd like to share it with you. So Horton Hatches an Egg by Dr. Seuss. Happy Read Across America Day. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired. I'm bored. I've got kinks in my legs. I'm just sitting here day after day. It's work, how I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for a rest. If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. Then Horton, the elephant, passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? The elephant laughed. Why, of all silly things, I haven't feathers and I haven't wings. Me on your egg, I haven't. Why, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, ma'am, and I'm so immense. Tut, tut, answered Maisie. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you could do it. No trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You're gentle and kind. Come, be a good fellow. I know you don't mind. I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed. Very well, said the elephant, since you insist. You want a vacation. Go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg. I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang out Maisie, and she fluttered away. An elephant in a tree. The first thing to do, murmured Horton. Let's see. The first thing to do is to prop up this tree and make it much stronger. It has to be done before I get on it. I must weigh a ton. There he is, propping the tree. That's what it means, is to hold something up. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat. And he sat all that day, and he kept the egg warm, and he sat all that night through a terrible storm. It poured, and it lightning, it thundered, it rumbled. This isn't much fun, the poor elephant grumbled. I wish you'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. Look at how sad he looks in the rain, but he's keeping the egg safe. But Maisie, by this time, was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest. She decided she'd never go back to her nest. There she is, up in the tree while everybody else is on the beach. So Horton, he kept sitting there day after day, and soon it was autumn, and the leaves blew away. And then came winter, and the snow, and the sleet, and the icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting and said with a sneeze, I'll stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came the springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round, and they shouted with glee, Look, Horton the elephant's up in a tree. They taunted, they teased him, they yelled, How absurd! Old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird. They laughed, and then they all ran away. And Horton was lonely. He wanted to play, but he sat on that egg, and he continued to say, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, and elephant's faithful, 100%. They all run away and play, and he's still sitting on the tree. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended. But poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For while Horton sat there, so faithful, so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up softly behind. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high. He threw out his chest, and he looked at the hunters as much to say, shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. Look at, he's very defiant. I will not go. But the men didn't shoot, much to Horton's surprise. They dropped their 3 guns, and they stared with wide eyes. Look, they all shouted. Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree. It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful, new. Don't shoot him, we'll catch him. That's just what we'll do. We'll take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to the circus for money. A circus. The elephant on a tree would be kind of cool to see, wouldn't it? And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front and pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. We're off, the men shouted, and off they all went, with Horton unhappy 100%. Up out of the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountain, 10,000 feet high. Then down, down the mountains and down to the sea went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon and onto a ship and over the ocean, and oh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashed by the spray, and Horton said day after day, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, but oh, I am seasick 100%. I get seasick too. Too much moving around. Oof. And bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch. Tied onto a board that could just barely hold him, bump Horton landed, and then the man, they sold him. Sold to the circus, then week after week, they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington, too. To Dayton, Ohio, to St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in a tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the farther that he went. But he said, as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. And then one day, the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not far from Palm Beach. And dawdling along way up high in the sky, who, of all people, should chance to fly by, but that old good-for-nothing bird runaway Maisie, still on vacation and still just as lazy. And spying the flags and the tents below, she sang out, oh, what fun! Why, I'll go to the show. I wonder how she's going to react to seeing her egg. And then she swooped from the clouds through an open tent door. Good gracious, cried Maisie, I've seen you before. Poor Horton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest ear-splitting squeak from the egg that he'd sat on for 51 weeks. You guys, that's 1 week less than a year. A thumping, a bumping, a wild, alive scratching. My egg, shouted Horton. My egg, why, it's hatching. He spent a year on this egg. But it's mine, cried the bird, and she heard the egg crack. The work was all done. Now she wanted it back. It's my egg, she sputtered. You stole it from me. Get off of my nest. Get out of my tree. Poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. But at that very instant, the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell from the egg that he'd sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. That's cute, right? And the people came shouting, "What's this all about?" They looked and they stared, and their eyes popping out, and then they cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They'd never seen anything like it before. "My goodness, my gracious," they shouted. "My word, it's something brand new. It's an elephant bird." And it should be like that, because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat, and he meant what he said, and he said what he meant. Can you guys say the rest of this? And they sent him home happy, 100%. They sent him home, that's good. And he got a big reward for working so hard. Oh, I love how Dr. Seuss rhymes all his books. Didn't you enjoy that? I hope you all did. If you get a chance, you should read Horton Hatches the Egg on your own and really look at the illustrations. Dr. Seuss didn't just write the stories, he illustrated them too. So I hope you all have a wonderful Read Across America week. And I enjoyed reading that, and I hope you enjoyed hearing it. Have a good day.